Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Welcome to another 2023 Project Orchids video. Now this is orchid number 6 of 8, and as we're heading well through the orchids now, when we get to the end, number 8, we will still be in March. Then there will be a break and we will start again in April back at orchid number 1, and we'll revisit what it looked like, what would have been the beginning of February, and compare it with what it looks like at the beginning of April, and then we'll move on to orchid number 2, etc. So that is the format. The format's difficult to visualize when we're on the first video for each of the plants. Anyway, orchid number 6, Dendrobium nobile type, and this is Prima Donna. I've had this a very long time, but not this. What I had was a plant a long time ago that grew into a bush that ended up getting best hybrid in show at one point. It was massive and covered in blooms, and I split it up because it got unwieldy. It was so big, and I needed to get some of the older canes off and sort of revitalize it really, and it got split up into several pieces that went to other people, and being of a generous sort, I kept the tatty bit. So it's taken a while to get going again, but last year it had a good year, and it's grown 2 nice new canes, one being close to the maximum size, one being a little bit shorter, but I didn't have a very good growing season all round last year. So the fact that I got 2 nice canes on this, I am well pleased. Now when this was repotted, I had a look at my notes a while ago now, and it needs doing. But I'm waiting for new growths and the signs of the new root systems coming. But when it was last repotted, it didn't have very good roots. Well, since then, it's actually generated a very good root system. Now, if this didn't have cocoa husk in it, which it has, I would pot that on for another year to save disturbing those roots. So I would just lift it gently out, tease a little bit of the outside bark off, and drop it in a bigger pot. Now the thing is, it is rumoured, it is said in the runes that dendrobiums like to be potted as tight as possible in their pot, and that could be true for some of them, but it's a generalization. The problem you've got is that when you've got quite a vigorous plant that's putting on quite a bit of growth, that small pot is going to cause you nothing but aggravation, because the plant will keep falling over because there's no weight in it. Okay, you try putting rocks in the bottom, but if you put rocks in the bottom, you'll need a bigger pot. See where I'm going? But basically the logic of having a small pot is so that you don't overwater in the winter period. You don't have to be quite so careful with your watering because you've only got a small amount of media in your small pot. They'll grow just as well in a bigger pot, but you will have to take much more care with your watering, especially during its resting period. Now this, in my environment this year, I've already taken this out of its rest. Last time this was watered, it got watered properly, as in a good soaking, and it had some feed. So I'm bringing this out of its rest on the grounds it's got to open all these blooms, and it is at least one of the 8 orchids that's starting the season in bloom. So what would I expect from this then? When I see signs of new growth at the base, new canes, the new roots will follow. I'm not desperate for roots. This has got a perfectly good root system, so I'm quite happy to wait until that time. It will be repotted at that point, and hopefully that will coincide with it due to be filmed, so that it can be, the actual repotting will be one of the Project Orchid videos. If not, I'll film it and save it for that time. Now we've got 2 canes here that haven't bloomed. Yeah. Now they may. This has been known to bloom in midsummer. Yeah, it can have a second flush. So whether I get blooms on these 2 canes this year remains to be seen. If I don't, they will bloom next year. So So that's that one, plant number 6, and I'm pleased with the progress on this. Having, you know, the plant really went downhill after it was all split up, and my piece wasn't a very good piece, and it was potted with hardly any roots. Since then it's come on, and it's now got its root system. It's grown 2 nice new canes last year. Let's see what we can do for it this year. I'd like to see 2 canes again on top of the 2 I've got. 3 would be brilliant, but 2 will do. 2 will be fine, and I'd like them both to get up to at least this height. So those are my aspirations for this plant, and only time will tell. So there we go, plant number 6. See you next time.